People need electricity. We need it for everyday things like cell phones, lights, refrigerators, and also for really important things like running hospitals, irrigating crops, and manufacturing products. Our entire economy depends on reliable and affordable electricity. Originally, back in the early 1900s, each individual city or town had a local generator to make its own electricity. Today, our electricity comes from a diverse set of resources near and far from home, all connected through transmission lines that make up the grid. Most people think all of our electricity needs in the Northwest are served by hydropower, when in reality, less than half of it is. 39% comes from coal and natural gas. 8% of our electricity comes from wind, 3% nuclear, and 2% biomass. These generators all provide the electricity that serves our homes and businesses throughout the year, so that when we turn on a light switch, it works every single time. We call this reliability. People demand an ultra-reliable electric grid. Increasingly, people also want cleaner electricity that doesn't pollute the air we breathe, as well as affordable electricity that fits into the family budget. But in order to have an electric grid that is reliable, clean, and affordable, we need to modernize how the grid operates. You see, in a lot of ways, the Northwest grid operates much the same today as it did over 100 years ago. Every time you turn a light switch on, a generator in your area must react with exact precision, turning up to provide more energy. Similarly, every time you turn a light switch off, a generator must turn down to provide less electricity. We call this service balancing. There are 23 individual utilities that provide this service in the Northwest. Unfortunately, these utilities act like islands, all operating independently to balance their own systems, even if a neighboring utility happens to have lower cost generation available at that given moment. That's inefficient. Utilities often propose to build new, expensive natural gas plants to accommodate this balancing service need, costing ratepayers hundreds of millions of dollars. Operating the system this way has kept the lights on historically, but needs to be less expensive and more efficient to meet the challenges of the future. It makes more sense for our utilities to share balancing services the way we trade almost every other good or service. For example, if one region has a bumper crop of wheat, they sell the surplus to a neighboring community. Or, if they're experiencing a shortage due to a drought, they'd buy wheat from where conditions were better. Advances in communication and computing technology give us an opportunity to modernize the grid and solve this problem. In much of the rest of the country, utilities have already modernized the communications necessary to pool their balancing services together, increasing the reliability of the system and decreasing costs to ratepayers. For example, in 2007, a group of utilities in the Midwest pooled their balancing services through what is known as an Energy Imbalance Market, or EIM. Doing this has saved ratepayers at least $700 million so far. Today, a group of utilities is currently assessing the benefits of establishing an EIM in the Northwest. A report has found that an EIM could improve reliability and save Northwest ratepayers at least $70 to $90 million a year, and possibly a lot more. It would also help facilitate the continued development of renewable energy resources in the region, which so far has brought over $21 billion of investment to communities and rural areas across the Northwest. After operating the system the same way for so long, some utilities are reluctant to changing the way balancing services are provided in the region. But it is time for the Northwest to modernize how we operate the electric grid. Call your utility leaders and tell them you support an energy imbalance market in the Northwest.